guys? Ed Wilson for President, Paradise Earth Initiative System. Listen, depression, guys. This place is just evil. It is really just evil. And they want you to go along with everything, but in the end, they just want control of you. They've took you away from all of the natural things that could actually strengthen you and build you up. And they replaced them with some concocted man-made version. That's what they've done with the GMOs and a lot of the foods and things, which I have to admit, some of them aren't too bad. But really, what is the trade-off? We don't really know. So for me to say it's not too bad, certain ones, I don't know the full length and depth of all of these creations, abominations, things of that nature. So here we are, out here struggling in a rat race that's taking everything from us but gives us nothing in return except a swifter death. We were actually, our life expectancies were increasing. We were living longer. Now people are dying. They're dying in young ages because they're being murdered. I mean, let's face it, they're being murdered. And they've twisted all of your books, like your Bible. I was on a post the other night, and a guy was arguing with me, and I'm trying. I don't want to argue with anyone. And I said to him that, because he was preaching out of a King James Version Bible, and I told him that's an evil book. I said there's some truth in it, but it's mingled with lies and alterations. First thing he said is, what's a lie? What's a lie? I said, well, if your commandments are the main precipice of the book for you to have an orderly life, to be able to do the will of God, and they alter the commandments, then the whole precipice and pinnacle of the point is lost, meaning that the entire book is trash. Now you may say, Ed, what are you talking about? Well, the original, as far back as I can find, says, thou shalt not murder. They changed it to thou shalt not kill. Well, there's a big difference in murdering and killing. Like, for instance, we have a country now that is ran by murderers, and they should be killed. So, what is the problem here? The problem is the manuscripts, the constitutions, the rule of law has been rigged and altered. Then he asked me, he tried to convince me King James did nothing. I said no, but he picked the people that were going to do the alterations, and they were also given certain direct advisories from him. And then he asked, and he said, as he keeps sending me laughing emojis, like there's something funny about the terrorism that's involved with this. There's nothing funny about it, guys. And then he said, well, what did he have removed? I said, well, maybe you should look into it. He had all of the Apocrypha removed. That's a lot of books, guys. Some of those books are even mentioned in there. So they didn't remove all of the evidence of these books as well. So keep in mind, he was trying to keep the Catholic system in place because it is a population control construct. It is a slave system that is based on ancient slavery, to where when the people got free, in other words, you remember that whole thing, let my people go? Hey guys, just so you know, these are the people that got let go. They were in slavery so long, they lost melanation. That's why when you hear one of these LOL chosen ones, sitting there saying that this is only for the melanated. Remember, they're part of that agenda. A lot of them are trying to brainwash you into that old world of slavery. Because guys, you don't even know. Let me put it like this. The slavery you were taught about in school, literally and figuratively and in every way, is a joke compared to the amount of time, the amount of generations that it takes for a people to evolve with lighter skin, because they were in mines and caves mining the riches that those so-called roots of evil are known for. So yeah, you guys want to have that conversation, let's have it. I've noticed a lot of you guys like to be truthers until it gets to a certain point. And then when it gets to that point, you kind of have a tendency to just fall away. All you Muslims, you just fall away because you know your truth is empty. Because you can only go so far, and then what happens is the truth that you're trying to spread, which is actually a psychological operation to manipulate people's minds into thinking you were the victim, when in actuality you were the original slave masters. That's right. So we know now that everything that we've been taught is a lie. I do not frequent any synagogues of Satan. I don't care what denomination you are. You are evil. Okay? If you are a part of the Hebrew Israel agenda, you are evil. So let me make that very clear to you. Okay? These people have lied about everything. Do you want to talk more about those ancient great civilizations? Do you want to talk about the indigenous, which people are out here saying that these people are indigenous and blah, blah, blah. Well, there was actually a lot more indigenous too, but they were wrote out of the history because at the time they were totally insignificant. They were the ones that were in the mines, in the caves, and any of the light-skinned people were also written out. And then you wonder why when the slave became free, they wanted to write out the slave masters and erase all of that. But see, I don't want to erase that. I want it all known, every bit of it, because it's very humbling. It's very humbling. And it also gives us well, I guess I would say it gives you a bit of a power that you've never had before. Knowledge is very important. Truthful knowledge is the most important. Root truth knowledge is the king of all of that knowledge. Okay? I don't know if that makes sense to some of you guys. I mean, I know a lot of you guys are lucky if you even got a spark in there. I don't even know what to title this video. Some would call it a rant. Some would call it a crazy man talking. I don't know. I'm not crazy. If you look up the things, actually, that's funny. I said look up. If you were to look up some of these things, it will only go back so far. And once you get into these older ancient writings, you're going to find that all of the chosen people were the ones that wielded the pen. The chosen ones of the times that really were not chosen were imposters. They were the ones that had the pen. And the pen was mightier than the sword. Because the sword, even though it could change history, could not write history. Think about it, guys. Have a good day.